Welcome back, you guys. I am excited for today's video because I love any excuse to talk about eyeshadow palettes. Whether it's a good reason, a bad reason, or anything in between, I love eyeshadow. It is my favorite thing in the world. And I review around 150 eyeshadow palettes a year here on my channel. And I get so excited by their color stories, their formulas, and all of those things. They are just so much fun. But sometimes I review a palette and literally just forget that it even exists in my collection. That is what today's video is about. I've dug through my collection and pulled out 20 palettes that I have reviewed and literally never touched again. Sometimes it might be the formula, the color story just doesn't speak to me as much, or whatever, but we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna tell you why. You're gonna have to let me know what you think of these down below. Maybe we feel differently about them, but either way, I'm excited to get into it. If this is your first time here, my name is Heather and I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands, which this is all full of indie brands. But if you love those things too, I really hope you will subscribe, stick around. I would love to see you back. I would love to hear from you down below, especially about these palettes. You're gonna have to let me know. Like, do you feel the same? Do you feel different? I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. So we're just gonna dive on in. I do have codes with some of these brands if you are interested in the palette. Like I said, some of these are not bad palettes at all. They're just, for one reason or another, left my brain and I never turned back. But let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so actually we have 22 palettes, but 2 of them I'm grouping together and I realized I forgot one, so I added it. But I separated these into piles. One is just formulas I don't like for one reason or another. The second one is good formulas, but the color stories just don't vibe with me, you know what I mean? Or I don't vibe with them. And then the others really aren't bad. I just don't know why. I just never reach for them again. But we're going to start with the first stack, which is the bad palettes. The first one I want to talk about is the ELECTRUM Cosmetics Dark Winter Palette. Now, I've talked about this one a couple of times on my channel. The shimmers in this are amazing. Absolutely gorgeous shimmers, like really breathtaking, and I was so excited to try this brand. But I'm gonna be honest, I will probably wait to buy anything else to see if they reformulate their mattes, because I do not like their mattes at all, at least not the ones in this palette. But if you have tried this palette and some of their others, let me know if it's the same, like throughout their brand. I just don't want to drop more money and then end up not being crazy about it. I had a lot of trouble working with the mattes in this one. I don't know. I just didn't care for it at all, but I am so in love with these shimmers. So I really hope that they're able to really up that formula. This holochrome is so freaking gorgeous. Honestly, these shimmers are so pretty. It's almost worth the price of the palette, but at the same time, not really, because there are so many amazing brands out here doing such fun things and creating very innovative different types of shifty shimmers that I love so much, and this one just missed the mark for me. So the next brand is KRYPTEIN Cosmetics, and I tried them this year for the first time. Same with ELECTRUM Cosmetics, but same exact story with this brand as ELECTRUM. Love the shimmers, do not care for the mattes at all. You can tell by looking at this palette up close how dusty these mattes are. The kick up in the pan is insane. Look at the brush strokes in that shade, because they're so softly pressed that it's just a mess. And I had such a hard time, like, I'm pretty sure it was this palette specifically that I had the worst time with out of the 2. It was just so hard to get these shades to work because all of these are like very light, so they're not really blending shades, but they just, I don't know, there's no like mid-tones in here. I didn't care about it at all. I was actually really excited to try this brand because I wanted to from the very first launch, and I was really disappointed with their matte formula, but I really loved their shimmers. And this one was not as hard to work with, but same concept basically. I had a really hard time working with this matte formula. They're just very dusty, but the shimmers are so freaking gorgeous. Like, look at those. That shade is so pretty. But Diveroon Cosmetics has a shade very similar to this, and their Dewdrops Part 1 palette that's beautiful. But yeah, I liked the color stories. I love the shimmers, but the matte formulas are a complete miss. So these two are two that I was actually talking about I wanted to put together. But it's the two palettes I have from Morphe. We have the Sky-Fi palette and the Cyber Chrome. So these aren't actually as bad as I originally thought they were, but they're still not good. Not even for like drugstore. I honestly feel like they are a miss, and I don't know, like, eyeshadow has become so expensive, so I get why people want something at a cheaper cost because everything has become so expensive. Everyone's struggling pretty much, but this is just, they really, like, Morphe's doing such great things right now, like their face products, their lip products, lots of things, and their eyeshadow really just needs some work. The shimmers and the mattes, it's just all around was a miss for me altogether. I just didn't really care for them, and that's why I used them and never felt inspired to reach for them ever again. Same with this one. This is CXC Beauty. It's the only palette I've tried from this brand, and this one wasn't really bad per se, but it also is not a standout formula with the mattes or the shimmers. The shimmers are pretty, but they also are not very, like, they don't necessarily need to be, I don't need it to be shifty, but I need it to be sparkly, you know, I needed to have something, and these I felt like just left something to be desired. And the matte formula is okay, but again, not the best, so I have not repurchased anything from them since then for that reason. But I am interested to see like how they improve in the future, because I love indie brands and I want to support when I can, but I also want to review things that are fun for me, you know what I mean? And I don't want to recommend something that I'm not completely in love with, or at least it needs to be good quality, because I mean, we all have different preferences with color story. So this one I love. So it's the Fatally Yours palette from Melt and Bailey Sarian, and I love this color story so much, but I still have issues with this oxidizing on me. This color story is everything my grungy heart loves, but I feel like when I wear it, it all looks so similar on the eye, and which is crazy because these are also like vastly different. But I had a really hard time working with this palette, and I've said time and time again that I want to try it again, but my time with it was so terrible that I don't want to, which is terrible. But I love Bailey Sarian, and I'm beginning to really like Melt Cosmetics, but there is something about this. I had such a hard time working with it. I don't know. I am the only person on the planet I've heard say that, but like the shades in this palette are so pretty. But see, even these two shades, they look so similar, but when you swatch them, they look different. But on the eye, when you try to blend them, they look very similar. That formula is good, but I feel like they could update it, and I don't know. I can't see myself getting rid of it because, like I said, I absolutely love Bailey Sarian. I watched her religiously for years. But I don't know. That one was just a miss. Now we have the stack of palettes that are in this pile simply because I don't care for the color story. And the first one is the Glam Light Holiday Suites. And honestly, I don't know what they were planning with this one. They've done so much better than this. And this is fantastic quality. Every palette in this stack is good quality. But I don't know. This color story is just not it for me at all. And maybe it could be if you really like the neutrals they picked. But I don't know. I feel like the browns, ew. It's maybe a personal preference, but it's definitely not mine whatsoever. And also, I just saw this in the stack. This one is kind of formula as well. So it probably should have been in the other stack. But this is the Sweet Aesthetics from DD Signature. I do actually have a code with this brand. I did buy this one myself. But I will say DD Signature has made strides in the differences of her. Actually, I heard from Angelica today that she met her, and it's actually not even pronounced DD Signature. It's Dede Signature, which I did not know that. But what I was saying, she's made strides in the differences and the way she's just truly leveled up her brand. It's not even funny. And this was just one of her earlier things, and you could tell like the packaging was not good at all. When I opened the mirror, like the paper just popped off. And this matte formula wasn't bad, but it's not at all what she has now. And I didn't really care for this color story. I mean, it's kind of a rainbow palette, but not a good one. Now I feel like she's much more innovative with her color stories and her theming, her artwork, just all around. She's just done such good things. But this one is another one that I've used just for review, and I have literally never ever touched it again, and I probably never will. It's one, I don't like getting rid of my palettes if it's like brands I know I'm going to talk about a lot on my channel, so I don't know if I'm going to get rid of it, but I just don't see myself ever reaching for it again. It's just a miss. Okay, so the next one is the Morally Gray from Bello Beauty Bar. Now, this one has a fantastic formula. I also have a code with this brand, but I just did not care for the color story of this whatsoever, which is why it's one that I've never used again after I reviewed it. I will say though, the shimmers in here are really, really pretty, but I don't know. I know I probably won't ever use this again unless I'm reaching for those shimmers, because Bello Beauty Bar has some of the best shimmers of all time. But the color story was just such a miss, and it almost feels like they were trying to hurry up and whip something up for Valentine's Day. And I don't know. It just doesn't feel Bello Beauty Bar to me, because they always, in my opinion, deliver some of the best launches, and I'm always so excited for them. I have actually not missed a Bello Beauty Bar launch in over 2 years now because I love them so much. They are fantastic, but this one just didn't really hit the mark like I wanted it to. Same with this brand. It's another one of my favorite brands of all time, but it is Unearthly Cosmetics, and we have the Thinking of You palette. This is fantastic quality, like I said. But this one, I did like, because this was her Valentine's Day launch. I loved that she did something different than the traditional Valentine's Day color story. But this one is not. I felt like she just threw something together for Valentine's Day, because to me this does not feel unearthly at all. But if you did like the color story, I do think you would love it, because her formula is fantastic, the same as Bello Beauty Bar. and her shimmers always are some of the best as well. And she has like a thin shimmer formula that's like not as prone to creasing if you are someone that does deal with that. But I don't know. I love this peach shade in here. I did create some beautiful looks that I loved out of this, but it just wasn't my favorite. This one definitely was not a favorite. The formula is not bad at all, but it was a complete miss. And it is the Glam Light Good Guys. So I actually missed the SAW collection, and I heard they sold out, which is amazing for them, but I was not able to pick it up right now. But this one, I want to be honest, like the red, blue, green color stories they've been doing over and over and over is the reason I have not been reviewing them so much like in the last year. I'm just so tired of it, and I want, which I will say their Lord of the Rings palette I thought was really beautiful, but I just want something different from them. And this is like, I don't know, it feels like kindergarten makeup. I mean, do I feel like they actually nailed the whole theme? Yes. But I also feel like they should have made this palette bigger, so they could have made this more fun, added in some more shades, some lighter shades even, and they could have just done so much more with this. And it's like they come up with the artwork and what they want the theme to be, and then they're like color grabbing the color story from the photo. And I just feel like they used to do so much more than that, and I feel like they've gotten kind of lost in all of their IPs lately, and I miss them, you know what I mean? But I am happy for them. I know the stuff they've been launching has been really good for their brand and iconic, so I can understand it, but it's just not something that I am crazy about. You know what I mean? Same with Fresh Prince. I had fun with this. I will say the setting spray that was in this collection that was really cool. It's like a spray paint can. Mine was faulty and I had to throw it away because you could like spray it and then the thing would get stuck and you'd have to pull it up. I'm not trying to do that with my life every day. And while this color story is bright and beautiful, I loved that they put the black in here and they had this lighter shade. The formula is fantastic. The looks were really fun. It's just the same thing I said about this one. I miss them. You know, I just miss them. Where's your innovation? How am I supposed to feel creative when I feel like you're not being creative? So the next palette, I actually don't know what it's called. I think it's the Midnight Moth. I could totally be wrong, but it's from Lethal Cosmetics. And honestly, I had fun with this one, but it just doesn't feel like Lethal Cosmetics now, if that makes sense. I do think this color story is beautiful, and the formula is not bad by any means, but I think it's just the color story doesn't speak to me, and I felt like the shimmers were a little, I don't know, like I said earlier, left a little to be desired. They're a bit dull compared to what they're putting out now, like the Avatar collection or the Dexter collection is so phenomenal. One of my favorites in my collection. But this one just was not it. It was a complete miss for me. They actually did like a part 2 and I ended up not picking up that one because I just didn't, I don't know. I don't think it was bad, and if you like the color story, I don't think you'll hate it, but the shimmers are more of like a standard shimmer formula, and for me, I'm always looking for that extra sparkle. I just love it. It makes me happy, but this one was just, I don't know. I never picked it back up for that reason. It was just a miss. Same with, I mean, I guess all of these palettes, but definitely the NATASHA DENONA Bloom palette. And you know, I've realized this palette is beautiful. It has a beautiful formula, the mattes and the shimmers, but this palette was not made for me, and that is okay. So I reviewed this and I never actually touched it again. I do think it's a beautiful palette, but I do like something with a little more in a palette, like a little more exciting, a little more fun of a color story, something more adventurous, and this just isn't it. I don't think I vibe with Natasha's eyeshadow palettes as a whole, and that's okay. They just aren't made for me, but I do think they have a beautiful formula. If you're into them, I think you will love them, but for me, this one was a pass. Like I said, picked it up and never ever used it again, but I do really love like these warmer like mattes over here. I think they're beautiful. Looking at it makes me want to use it, to be honest. But when I'm like sitting here and trying to figure out what I want to wear for the day, that one just never pops in my mind. So this one is pretty much like a color story thing. But there's a dud in here as well. But it is the plastic palette from BLENDBUNNY Cosmetics. I love this format that they did. The color story is honestly kind of fun in some ways, but it was a miss for me. This shade right here, I was excited about, but it ended up being a complete dud compared to their other shades. It is pretty, but it does not feel like or look like the very sparkly, beautiful BLENDBUNNY shimmers that you always get in their palettes. You see what I mean? You could totally see the difference there. It just is not even a true metallic in any way. It's almost giving off satin, but it's meant to be a metallic. So it was just a miss. And the color story as a whole wasn't a favorite, but there are shades in here that I really loved. I didn't vibe with this one. Although I will say I would love to see them do another 12 pan because I loved that idea. I just feel like that one didn't, it kind of missed the mark, you know what I mean? And I hope that the fact that it missed the mark, because I know it did with a lot of people, I hope it doesn't discourage them from doing another 12 pan. And then we have the Polar Express from Nomad. So I got this in, it was gifted at the Creators and Friends event in Vegas that I went to for their Christmas party. I do have a code with the brand now as well. Since then, it is AOML. And this is fantastic quality. I love Nomad as a whole, and I do think the color story is beautiful, but it is not a me color story. So it's just, I mean, I could create fun looks with it, you know what I mean? But it's just not one that I think of to use when I want to create something new and fun. But I will say, I do think like the blues and silvers together are really, really pretty. So for me, like this has a great formula, but it's just not my preferred color story. But again, I think if you liked it, you can't go wrong. Now, I have 5 palettes here that are great quality and I think are beautiful color stories, but for some reason I just never have touched them again since I reviewed them. And the first one is the SOLEMANE 2 palette from ODENS. I love this color story. I love the artwork on this as well. And I think it's just so beautiful. I love this brown in this sea of dusty colors. I think it is so beautiful. But, oh, and I have a code with them as well. It is AOML. But for some reason, I've never picked this back up. And I don't honestly know why, because there are a lot of things I really love about this. One being the shimmers. They are so beautiful. Like, look at that blue. It is no joke. But the matte color story on this one is really pretty as well. I just kind of went in my brain and left, you know? Sometimes it's like that. Okay, so this is actually my least favorite palette from this brand, but it's still a good palette. It's the GOTHIC palette from Cosmic Beauty, and she's beautiful. I think the reason I don't reach for this, though, is because I don't play with a lot of pinks and purples. It's just not a favorite for me. I love that they did this, like, size of a palette. I think that's really cool, and it was fun, but I don't know. When I want to play with the Cosmic brushes or Cosmic Beauty palette, this is the last one that I would ever reach for, but I do still think it's really beautiful. I love that you have like this translucent shade, which is more of a blue, so it does give you a pop of color, but this is not monochromatic really, but for someone who doesn't like pink and purple, it feels monochromatic. I hope that makes sense. Although I will say, I think they have a spectacular formula. They are a lot of people's favorite for a very good reason. I'm still waiting on their newest collection. Mine has not even shipped yet, so it might be a while, but I am so excited to get my hands on that. I do think I will love that one. But like I said, this is good, but it's just, I don't know. Then I have the Pat McGrath PETALMORPHOSIS. So for this one, this is like way more neutral than I would ever like typically use, but I really did have a lot of fun with this palette. I thought it was beautiful. The mattes are beautiful. The shimmers are beautiful. Do I think it warrants the high price tag? No, absolutely I do not. I would rather have an indie palette any day, but I will say there's things about this that feels very luxury. Like the weight of this thing is no joke. Like, it's beautiful. And like I said, I do think they have beautiful formulas in here, but I don't know, it just misses the mark a little bit. And you only have 3 mattes as well, but I do think you can get gorgeous looks out of this. I love the looks that I created with it, but I did pick it up, and this was not cheap. It's like around $120, I think, and I never used it again, which is very disappointing because that is a lot of money, especially in today's time. But it just sits on my shelf, you know, and it's quite sad. But you're gonna have to let me know if you guys pick this one up. I have had a lot of people tell me this isn't the good formula that everyone used to rave about with the motherships, which I would love to try that formula, but I don't even know if they still have any of those palettes out, or if I'm even willing to like fork over that much money for them now. I don't know. So if you have both, you'll have to let me know. And then we have the Vivette palette from Adept Cosmetics. So this one I really loved. I thought was fun. My video on this one didn't do very well, so I'm thinking that a lot of people weren't crazy about this color story, and maybe that's why. But I had a lot of fun with this palette. I love like the kind of chaotic color story of mattes. I thought it was a blast because honestly, you could pair this gray with any one of these colors and deepen up with the black in the outer corner and make such a fun look with whatever shimmer you pair those colors with on the lid. And that's a fun way. I love mixing gray with bright colors. I think it's so fun. But you could also like mix and match the other colors as well. That is super fun. I had a blast with this. But again, when I think about using my Adept palettes, this isn't one I usually reach for. I don't even know if this one is still like up on the site, but their shimmers are so incredible. Some of the best shimmers on the market, in my opinion. You just can't go wrong with an Adept shimmer formula. Shimmer. I'm all over the place. It's very late, but I love this, but I just don't ever reach for it. And I'm hoping I might be able to get more use out of these palettes in the future. But I do spend a lot of time talking about palettes in my collection that I love and I use all the time. So I thought it could be fun to talk about palettes that I maybe like but don't use, or that I used and never even wanted to touch again, you know? And the last palette that I want to talk about is one that I love and I think is beautiful, great formula, and it is the Siren Sunset from Lunar Beauty. This is beautiful. I wanted more from this, but I will still say I would probably like this more now if I used it than I did when I actually reviewed it, because I'm really into these like cool tones like up here. I love them so much, and I think I could find a better way to make more fun color combos out of this color story than what I did maybe then. But for one reason or another, I just have never reached for it again. But I will say this is a gorgeous palette. I had so much fun with it. I would have liked to see a little more color in here, but I know Manny is not a big, like, colorful eyeshadow lover anymore. He's more, like, neutral leaning, like, light makeup, no makeup, makeup looks, types of things. That will never be me, but I will still say this is such a beautiful palette. You can see these shimmers, how they glow. My favorite palette from Lunar Beauty is still the Moonshroom palette. It's one of my favorites. The color story is so grungy and gorgeous and fun. I just think it's so fantastic, but he has a really nice shimmer and matte formula, one that I love working with, and it's beautiful. I mean, it speaks for itself. These shimmers just really shine, and I missed a lot of his earlier stuff, like the Moonspell palettes and all of that, because I couldn't afford to pick anything up at the time. So I'm hoping that maybe one day we can see him really just dive back in to the world of color. I would love that. Well, you guys, this was so fun. I really had such a good time, and honestly, I could probably do this again, but I didn't want to add in too many things that I reviewed this year, because unless it was something that I knew for a fact I wasn't going to reach for. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of palettes that I've already reviewed this year, probably close to 100 already. It's been wild and very fun, but I'm sure there's more that's gonna end up being in this category, because not everything is for everyone, and that's just the way it goes. And the nature of reviewing makeup here on YouTube, especially eyeshadow palettes, which have my heart, means that you end up trying a lot of things, and sometimes, even though things might be good, they just don't vibe with you, or sometimes they're just bad, and it is what it is. But I love this. I hope you guys loved it too. If you did, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you have any of these palettes that would fit in any of these categories. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out, and until next time, bye.